Dr. Teriba, it's a pleasure having you in our studios again.
Thank you very much, Teslim.
Economic Associates has been well known nationally, internationally for economic analysis. This is the second in 2022. Now, with the various developments globally and nationally, what specifically are the takeaways? What are those values that policymakers, business leaders, and other stakeholders will take away from this conference? What are those key issues?
Right. Okay. To just provide a bedside view, a broad overview, is to say that we are in a global environment in which the global fundamentals, the trends of global fundamentals are shifting. And those trend shifts make the things that you did for success yesterday not sufficient for you to succeed today. So our conferences, the starting point is to have some clarity about the latest global trend shifts. And we look at three groups of variables. First, we look at global asset prices. The second that we trend, one price connects with income, one price connects with wealth. So we then trend, we then study the global income statement itself.
Okay.
And we find that any variable that you look at in world output, whether you're looking at agricultural output or industrial output or services output. By services, we mean indirect services.
Okay.
Because direct services are not described as services. They are described as income. So all three, follow the trend of global exports. They surged up to like 2014 and then stagnated and then has been in decline. For any country. There are a few exceptions, exceptions like China and Mexico.
Okay.
So these are the interesting insights, that come out of our economic outlook, looking at global. And so what we try to emphasize to participants is that we all operate within the same global environment, but our motives differ depending on whether you are running a country, or you are running a state, or you are running a city, or you are running a sector, or you are running a company. So once we satisfy ourselves with the latest developments in global trends, we then step down first to look at what are the country level vulnerabilities.
Okay.
And what realignments are warranted for resilience. For the country level, it tends to be macroeconomic. It tends to be reserves. It tends to be exchange rate stability. It tends to be about recession. It tends to be about debt sustainability. And the logic I've already presented in the global outlook. Then we leave that and then move on to, the national level also says as follows: unless there is adequate liquidity, there will be no stability.
Okay.
So liquidity is to do with things like reserves, like money in the bank, like bond market, equity market.
Okay.
Unless those meet some minimum thresholds that covers, all types of liquidity must cover three motives.
Okay.
The payments motive, there must be enough money for people to meet their payments. The precautionary motives, there must be an extra amount over payments requirement to meet unforeseen
circumstances.
There is the insurance motive. And there is the speculative motive. that after meeting payments, meeting contingencies, do you have something left that if an opportunity emerges, you can seize it? That's so our reserves has been struggling to meet payments. And the equity market capitalization, the deposit base on the banks, since 2014, all have been flat because they've all been tied to income. So once you have stagnation in GDP, all of them, so it's time to shift to, filter them to assets. And look for more equity, rather than debt to boost liquidity.